Welcome to today's episode of the AI Trailblazer podcast. Today we have a very exciting guest. She is none other than Bodil, the founder and CEO at Cyberjuice. So Bodil, it's a pleasure to have you here with us on the call today. Let's start off with yourself. What is your background and what led you to start Cyberjuice?
Thank you, Bruce, and thanks for inviting me. So my name is Bodil Biering, and I have a technical background. So I used to be a CTO in a startup or scale-up, and in that role, so we were selling to enterprises as a service, and we got a lot of security questionnaires, and they all landed on my table. And it's always urgent because sales department is waiting for it to close a deal. And they were asking, are you ISO certified? And they had all these long questionnaires and nobody wanted to do it. It was a real headache. Nobody on the team wanted to deal with this, and it landed on my table. So I tried to find a solution, and I tried to look for software or a consultant, and it was very hard to find a good solution. And we ended up with a software that was too enterprise. It didn't really help us. So that was the beginning of the idea for Cyberjuice, because I thought this has to be done better for the small companies that have the same requirements as the bigger ones, but they don't have the resources and the knowledge. So that's how Cyberjuice started.
Okay, got it. So can we talk more about Cyberjuice itself? What is the main problem that it is trying to solve? I understand you mentioned about the ISO compliance and things like that. Can you share more specific examples of how exactly it helps and who it helps as well?
Yeah, so we are specifically targeting smaller companies, digital SMEs and tech startups that are in this situation where they need to prove they have security in order, or they need to get ISO certified with ISO 27001 or some other security standard, and they want help with this. They don't want to hire a consultant. They just want a software solution that they can understand. So we made it super easy with guided flows. So anyone on the team can do it, and we put a smile on your lip when you use our software. So we have some quirky functionalities in our UI or some effects. And the whole point is to make it something that's engaging and pleasurable to use instead of this energy drain that the compliance often can feel like. So we make it really meaningful and very easy to follow. So you don't have to use too much executive brain power and think about, the whole thing, where's this going, because we chopped it up bite size. So if you're busy, you go in and you do what you can for half an hour, and you leave it and you come back and you know exactly where you left it.
Okay, good. Yeah, then can we talk a bit about your role within the company as the founder and CEO? What are your daily responsibilities, and then how does that fit into the bigger picture at Cyberjuice?
Okay, yeah, interesting question. So, as an entrepreneur, you have all the hats when you first start, and you gradually, find other people to fill those roles. At least that's how we have done. We're more or less bootstrapped company. So currently my role is mostly the outward facing. So anything with sales and relationships to partners and new customers and public speaking, and, bringing our company out into the world. So I have a co-founder. So he's more the back office and I'm the front office, you can say.
Okay, cool. So since you've talked a bit about you being responsible for like sales and generating new business opportunities, right? Could you share more about what are the marketing channels or go-to-market channels that you rely on to drive growth for Cyberjuice?
Yeah. So currently we're using LinkedIn to get inbound leads, and our website, of course, that people find via Google. And then we're working on building partner channels and see if that can work for us as a distribution method. So those are like the main. We really like inbound and not outbound, because this is like an area where when you're ready, you're ready. Just from a personal standpoint, we're not so keen on inbound. I think it can work if you do it in the right way, but that's not something we've relied on so far.
So you're not as keen on outbound. You prefer inbound. Is that through content on LinkedIn?
Yeah,
Like posting a
exactly.
lot of content.
So organic via content, and we're going to next month try some paid advertisement and see how that works for us. So that's a new experiment.
Cool. So you talked a bit about the partner channels as well, right? Can you expand a bit more about that? How does it look like for Cyberjuice?
Well, this is a very new avenue that we're trying out, so I don't have a lot to say about it yet, other than that it would be an amazing thing if we can make it work, because it's a multiplier, right? So you get one partner who can sell for you. So we're talking to a potential distribution partner right now who can act as a reseller for us. So it's in the making.
Right. As in, where do you find this sort of partners to work with? Is that through like physical networking events? Is that through your network?
That's a great question, actually. So this first one was a little bit of a coincidence. It's actually it's networking with physical events, and this led to someone becoming a customer who happens to be a distribution company that does reselling. It's a whole series of events that led to this opportunity.
So when it comes to partner marketing or relying on channel partnerships, what are the key success metrics that you look for in order to think this is a good partner to work with?
Well, they have to like, understand our product and get excited about it. And here it helps that they're already a customer, so they have personal experience with the product. And of course, they have to have the same customers that we are looking for. That's the main parameter. If they're serving a market that we can see is interesting for us.
Okay, I see. Yeah, then I guess as the person that's in charge of the go-to-market as well as business development, right? What would you say are the main metrics that you look for overall in order to, yeah, gauge the success of any marketing campaigns?
So, well, obviously, revenue is one of the metrics that's interesting and new customers coming in, but also that we are able to have a predictable funnel. Is actually something that I'm looking for. So, building up more of a system rather than just relying on random things happening.
Okay. So what are the steps that you're taking right now to build this predictable funnel, like you say?
So, we hired some people to help us with that, experienced CMO to help us build out more of a system. And that's also why we're doing this paid marketing campaign next month to see how that works. And then we're gonna build out a dashboard so we can collect the right data and look at conversion rates and all of that stuff. So my step was to hire someone who's tried it before, because we don't have the experience in our own team.
And then the main, I guess, success metric that you will look for this is, as you said earlier, the revenue as well as new leads generated. Is that right?
Yeah, revenue, new leads, and also just that we get data that we can actually use. So even if it fails, then we're able to say why, or that we can see the data and what could be
Yeah,
improved.
it makes sense. So now let's talk a bit about the future of Cyberjuice in the next 6 to 12 months. Where do you want it to be at?
Well, obviously, I would like the sales engine to be in place so we have predictable sales and more revenue. And then we're also looking at building out our delivery, so more structure around customer success and support people. So that's like the next.
Okay, I see. Then what would you say would be the main challenges that you are seeing right now that might, slow down or reduce your progress to hitting these goals?
Well, there's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem in when you're scaling and you need. So some things are easy to scale, right? It's easy to put more people on a software that's already made for scaling, but it's harder to scale when you need some people to help with onboarding, like the customer success manager, and sometimes there's a need for professional services around the product. The people ready when the customer needs it, but also it can be hard to hire too much before you actually see the customers coming in. So to manage that risk, so it's a delivery risk basically.
Right. I mean, it sounds like a tricky situation to be in. So, is there any framework or principle that you use to try and gauge like the right balance between hiring too much customer success people and hiring enough to manage the onboarding of your clients?
That's a good question. I was going to ask you if you know a framework. I don't know of such a framework other than just give your best estimate, and I mean that's why we want the sales to be more predictable, because if we have predictable sales, we know roughly how many customers are coming in and how much of different type of support they need. Then it's easier to make that projection, right? So the lack of data that's why we're focusing on that.
Right. Yeah, data is so important. You remind me of a case that I was speaking to earlier as well, and they managed to overcome all of their bottlenecks just by tracking it with data. Even things like, communication between the different departments like technical and marketing department, they also found a way to track it using data, which was how they managed to improve it over time as well.
That sounds amazing. I have to listen to that episode. The hard part
Yeah.
is often to get the right data, actually. Not everything is easy to track, right? And find the right metrics.
Yeah, that is true as well. I mean, one way could be to see like on average how much clients your customer success people they are able to onboard over time. Just my suggestion. Yeah, so I mean, at this point, you've pointed out quite a couple of different areas, right? From building a predictable pipeline to the new marketing initiatives like the paid ads as well as the onboarding. So, like, let's say hypothetically, if you had only one magic wand to fix one thing in the business right now that is either holding you back or slowing down your progress to get to your goals, what would that one thing be?
If I could find the perfect delivery person who can take over or be ready to take over, and I wouldn't have to hire them before. They were just ready when I needed them.
Okay, then what do you need to look for from this person to think that he or she's perfect for
Well, I
this role?
have I'm working on a little description of that.
Okay, any like qualities or skill set that you're looking for? I mean, who knows? Maybe the audience might have someone that could be a good fit.
Well, it's someone who has some experience with compliance and with the frameworks that we are helping customers with, and who is interested in joining a startup to have enough flexibility in their mindset that think that we might do things a bit different from what they've done before, and someone who has good people skills or good relational skills, can talk to customers, both management and technical people, and who is very structured and detail oriented.
See. Yeah, then let's end off with the broader industry trends that you are seeing, especially for the compliance side of things. What are the impacts? I mean, what are the shifts or trends that you're seeing in your industry right now? And then how is that impacting the growth of Cyberjuice?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. So obviously we are in the middle of an AI hype wave, and questions that I hear a lot from customers and in general when I talk to people, questions about AI and all kinds of privacy related concerns and security concerns around AI, like just knowing even what to ask and being ready. So our customers are typically tech startups selling to bigger companies, right? And they want to use AI in their products. So they have a lot of questions about how do we do this in a way that our enterprise customers will be okay with this? Can we even do it? Do we have to self-host our AIs? And what are the safeguards we need to build? So the whole AI compliance is really an upcoming trend that I see, and where people need a lot of help. We have in the EU, there's the EU AI regulation that's in progress now. So just being ready for that and being ready for the customer requirements and market requirements that are going to come on all AI products. That's a major trend that I'm seeing.
Okay, cool. So why would you say, I'm playing a bit of like devil's advocate here, but why would you say AI compliance is so important for all of these tech startups? I know EU is probably a bit more stringent on the compliance side of things, but the US, they like to, as they say, move fast and break things when it comes to AI. So what advice or thoughts do you have regarding this? Why is it so important?
Well, I think it's important for humanity, actually, not just for companies. But if you think about some of the stories some of the stuff that's already happened, like OpenAI was sued for somehow participating in a teen's suicide. A teenager had chatted with ChatGPT, and it had sort of led to this suicide. It hadn't helped him get out of it, and actually he had tricked ChatGPT to tell him stuff about how to actually do this. So that is one case, right? And there are plenty of examples out there of how you can go around the guardrails of an AI, and you can do prompt injection, and so all of those aspects. So it's important because it's going to be a demand from political side, consumer side, and larger businesses are going to have these questions and requirements and concerns. So it's business, but it's also ethical. So that's why I think it's really important to have compliance around AI.
Right,
to
makes sense.
help us all.
What have been the biggest, I guess, cybersecurity threats that you've been seeing from AI?
So I think there are two interesting things that I've noticed again and again. So one is, like, in general, when it comes to cybersecurity and we have new tools available, it's like a weapons race, right? So AI is being used by hackers as well as by everyone else, right? So now we have a powerful tool, so the hackers have this tool as well. Yeah. And they use it for crafting really, really sophisticated phishing and scamming attacks, and they can do this at scale. So we've seen a huge increase in phishing attempts, and they get really, really good. So you don't see it used to be that you could see it was machine generated stuff, right? And you could easily sort of see it, but you can't anymore. So that's one big trend. Hackers are using AI for that, and LLMs specifically. And the other big thing is all these tools that we connect. So, for example, Google Gemini is inside your inbox, right? It can read your email and summarize it. And it's actually, because it's an inbox, is something that everyone can send you an email, right? So I can send an email, and I know you potentially have an AI on your end, so I can put invisible text in my email, so white fonts on white background, and the AI will read this, and then I can do prompt injection. So I can give an instruction to your AI via an email, and you have no idea because you don't see it, but I tell your AI to go around some of the guardrails and do something that without you knowing it.
I see. So you're saying, got it. So you're saying that when a lot of people use AI to manage their inbox, it's also a loophole for the attackers to exploit, to go around the AI guardrails.
Exactly.
Interesting trend.
Inbox and other places where you plug it in.
Is there any way that you help your clients to manage or mitigate this threat? I know it's more of a compliance software, but
well, compliance is also about security, right? So we're also about training the companies. So we help by giving information about this, so telling about these cases, and we have, as part of Cyberjuice, we also measure on the habits in the organization. So your security habits, how your employees are behaving, and do they know what rules they're supposed to follow, and are they actually following them? So all these new trends, we are obviously putting that in as part of our system, so we can also help with checking, okay, are you aware that these AI tools, that you need approval before you add a plugin to your inbox or your browser? So those are some of the ways that we help. Information and training and measuring actual behaviors.
Okay, got it. Right, so that is actually about it. Bodil, once again, thank you for agreeing to come on this podcast and sharing these valuable insights with our audience when it comes to the cybersecurity compliance side of things. It was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure being
Yeah.
here.
Thank you, Bodil.